The call came at exactly 4:45 p.m. on July the 7th, 2025, just as Taylor Swift was about to enter the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. She had driven 3 hours from New York in complete secrecy, wearing dark sunglasses and a simple blue coat, her heart heavy with the knowledge that she was about to meet a dying 8-year-old girl who had supposedly asked to see her one last time. "Taylor, stop. Don't go in there yet." Paisley Mae Johnson's voice crackled through the phone, thick with tears and desperation. "You need to know the truth before you walk into that room." Taylor paused in the hospital parking lot, her hand frozen on the door handle. "What truth?" "Paisley, you're scaring me." "Lily Grace Thompson, the little girl who's dying of leukemia. She never asked to meet you." The words hit Taylor like a physical blow. She sank back against her car, trying to process what her assistant was telling her. "That's impossible. The hospital called my management team. They said it was her dying wish. It was all a lie." Paisley's voice broke completely now. It was her mother, Madison Bell Rodriguez. She fabricated the entire story. She called the media first, then the hospital, then your team. And Taylor, Lily doesn't even know who you are. Taylor felt the world spinning around her. For the past week, she had been preparing emotionally for this visit, canceling other commitments, writing a special song, even bringing a custom guitar painted with the little girl's favorite colors, all based on what she now understood was a complete fabrication. But why? Why would someone do that? Because Madison Bell is desperate. "I hired a private investigator after something felt wrong about the story. Her ex-husband, Lily's biological father, is fighting for custody. If Lily dies while under Madison Bell's care, he gets millions from a life insurance policy that was taken out when Lily was first diagnosed." Taylor's legs gave out, and she slumped against her car door. "So she called me here to create a narrative. My daughter got to meet her hero before she died, so I must be a wonderful mother." Her lawyer apparently told her that having celebrity visitors could help her custody case by showing she provides enriching experiences for Lily. The phone almost slipped from Taylor's shaking hand. In her 15-year career, she had been manipulated, used, and exploited in countless ways. But this felt different. This was about a dying child being used as a pawn in an adult's twisted game. "Taylor, are you still there?" Before she could answer, Scarlett Rose Washington, a nurse she recognized from the hospital's website, came running toward her car, her scrubs disheveled and her face pale with panic. "Miss Swift, thank God you're here. Something terrible has happened." Taylor looked between the phone and the approaching nurse, feeling like she was trapped in a nightmare that was getting worse by the second. "What's wrong?" she managed to ask the nurse. "Lily just woke up from the coma she's been in for 3 days, and the first thing she said..." Scarlett Rose paused, looking confused and frightened. "The first thing she said was your name. But here's the problem. We just discovered that she only has about 2 hours left to live, and Madison Bell just disappeared with all of Lily's medical records." Taylor stared at the nurse in complete shock. Through her phone, she could hear Paisley Mae saying something, but the words weren't registering. Her mind was trying to process the impossible situation she found herself. "But that doesn't make sense," Taylor said slowly. "If Lily doesn't know who I am, how could she say my name when she woke up?" Scarlett Rose shook her head helplessly. "I don't know. None of us understand. She's been unconscious for days, and we were told she was completely unresponsive. But she woke up asking for you specifically." Taylor's phone buzzed with an incoming call from Braxton Fitzgerald, the CEO of her record label. She declined the call, but immediately received a text message. "Emergency. Call me now. The internet is exploding." "Miss Swift," Scarlett Rose continued, "there's something else you need to know. There are reporters here. Someone leaked the story that you were coming, and they're saying you arranged this visit yourself for publicity." "That's not true," Taylor exclaimed. "I never spoke to any reporters about that." "I know, but they have photos of you arriving, and they're already posting stories online saying this whole thing is a PR stunt." Taylor felt like she was drowning. In the span of 5 minutes, she had discovered that the dying child she came to visit had been used as bait in an elaborate deception, that the child somehow knew her name despite supposedly never having heard of her, and that she was about to be crucified in the media for allegedly exploiting a child's death for publicity. Her phone rang again. This time, it was Remington Hayes, her head of security. "Taylor, where are you? The paparazzi are surrounding the hospital. Someone from TMZ is inside the building with a camera crew." "You need to get out of there now." "I can't leave," Taylor said, surprised by the strength in her own voice. "There's a little girl in there who's dying, and somehow she knows my name. I need to find out what's really happening here." "Taylor, this is a trap. You're walking into a media disaster." "Maybe," Taylor said, looking at Scarlett Rose, who was waiting anxiously for her decision. "But what if it's not? What if there's something else going on here that none of us understand?" She hung up the phone and looked at the nurse. "Take me to see Lily." As they walked toward the hospital entrance, Taylor's mind raced with questions that had no logical answer. How could a child who supposedly didn't know who she was wake up asking for her by name? Why had Madison Bell disappeared with the medical record? And why did she feel like she was walking into something that would change her life forever? The automatic doors of the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia slid open, and Taylor Swift stepped into what she was certain would be either the most meaningful or most devastating experience of her career. The halls of the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia seemed to stretch endless as Taylor followed Scarlett Rose toward the pediatric oncology ward. The walls were painted in cheerful colors, meant to lift spirits, covered with artwork created by young patients. But Taylor barely noticed any of it. Her mind was consumed with trying to understand how she had walked into such a complicated and potentially dangerous situation. "Miss Swift," Scarlett Rose said as they approached the elevator, "before we go up to see Lily, there's someone you need to speak with. Dr. Maverick Sinclair, our chief pediatric oncologist. He's been treating Lily, and he has some concerns about this situation." The elevator doors opened to reveal a tall, serious-looking man in his 50s, with graying hair and tired eyes that spoke of too many years watching children fight battles they shouldn't have to face. Dr. Sinclair stepped out and immediately approached Taylor. "Miss Swift, I'm Dr. Sinclair. I need to speak with you privately before you see Lily." "Of course," Taylor replied, though every instinct was telling her to run. Dr. Sinclair led her to a small consultation room away from the main corridors. Once the door was closed, his professional demeanor became more urgent. "You shouldn't be here," he said bluntly. "Madison Bell Rodriguez forged your signature on the hospital visitation document." Taylor's blood ran cold. "She did what?" "She presented paperwork this morning claiming that you had personally requested to visit Lily and that you had cleared it through the hospital administration. When we checked with administration, they said they had received confirmation from your management. But when we tried to verify, my team never confirmed anything," Taylor finished. "Because I only learned about this request a week ago." "Exactly. And there's more. Madison Bell sold this story to several media outlets before you even knew about it. Savannah Grace Miller from TMZ has been here all afternoon with a camera crew, waiting for your arrival." Taylor sat down heavily in one of the consultation room chairs. "So this whole thing really is a setup." "It appears so. But Miss Swift, there's something else, something that doesn't make sense." Dr. Sinclair pulled out a tablet and showed Taylor a video timestamp from earlier that afternoon. "This is security footage from Lily's room when she woke up from her coma." The video showed a small, bald girl sitting up in a hospital bed, looking around the room with confusion. Then, clear as day, she could be heard asking, "Where is Taylor? She was supposed to be here when I woke up." Taylor stared at the screen in disbelief. "But you said she doesn't know who I am." "That's what Madison Bell told us. She said Lily had never heard your music, never expressed interest in celebrities, never even owned a phone or tablet to access social media. According to her, Lily's dying wish was supposedly to meet a famous singer, and Madison Bell had suggested you specifically. But that's clearly not what's happening in this video." "No, it's not. And Miss Swift, there's something else that's deeply troubling. 20 minutes after you arrived in the parking lot, Madison Bell left the hospital with several of Lily's medical files that contained sensitive information about her treatment and prognosis." Taylor felt a chill run down her spine. "Why would she take those? We don't know, but without those files, we can't verify some crucial information about Lily's condition or her treatment history." At that moment, Taylor's phone buzzed with another call from Braxton Fitzgerald. "This time?" she answered. "Taylor, thank God. Where are you? This situation is spiraling out of control." "I'm at the hospital, Braxton. What's happening?" "Social media is going insane. The hashtag #TaylorFake is trending worldwide. People are saying you arranged this whole visit as a publicity stunt, that you're exploiting a dying child for media attention. The photos of you arriving at the hospital are everywhere." Taylor closed her eyes, feeling the weight of the situation crushing down on her. "Braxton, I was set up. The whole thing is a lie. I know you would never do something like this intentionally, but the damage is already being done. You need to leave that hospital immediately and let me handle the media response." "I can't leave," Taylor said, her voice steadier than she felt. "There's a little girl upstairs who somehow knows my name, who asked for me when she woke up from a coma, and who's dying. I need to understand what's really happening here. Taylor, please think about this rationally. This could destroy your reputation." "My reputation doesn't matter if there's a child who needs help." She hung up and looked at Dr. Sinclair. "I want to see Lily. Miss Swift, I have to advise against it. If this is indeed some kind of elaborate setup, being photographed with Lily could make things much worse for you. And if it's not a setup, if there's something else going on here that we don't understand, what happens to Lily then?" Dr. Sinclair studied Taylor's face for a long moment. "You're really willing to risk everything to see a child you've never met?" "Yes," Taylor said without hesitation. "Because if there's even a chance that she really needs me, I can't live with myself if I walk away." They took the elevator to the 7th floor, and as they walked down the corridor toward room 847, Taylor could see the TMZ camera crew positioned strategically to capture her approach. Savannah Grace Miller spotted her immediately and began filming, calling out questions that Taylor ignored. "Just keep walking," Dr. Sinclair advised quietly. "Don't engage with them." Chunsti. When they reached room 847, Dr. Sinclair paused with his hand on the door handle. "Miss Swift, whatever happens in there, whatever Lily says or doesn't say, please remember that she's an 8-year-old child who's dying. She's been through more trauma than any child should have to endure." "I understand," Taylor said. Dr. Sinclair opened the door, and Taylor stepped into the room, completely unprepared for what she would find. Lily Grace Thompson was sitting up in her hospital bed, small and thin from months of chemotherapy, her head completely bald, but her eyes bright and alert. She was holding a piece of paper and humming softly to herself. When she saw Taylor, she smiled with genuine joy, as if seeing an old friend after a long absence. "Taylor," she said happily, "you came. I knew you would come when you heard me singing our song." "Our song?" Taylor asked, confused, and then Lily began to sing, her small voice clear and beautiful despite her illness. The melody that came from her lips was hauntingly familiar, but Taylor couldn't place it immediately. As Lily continued singing, Taylor felt a chill run through her entire body. The song Lily was singing was one that Taylor had written 10 years ago, alone in her bedroom, as a teenager dealing with her own struggle. She had never recorded it, never performed it, never even played it for anyone else. It existed only in her private journals, locked away in a safe in her Nashville home. There was absolutely no way that Lily Grace Thompson could know that song, but she was singing it perfect, word for word, note for note, as if she had heard it 1,000 times before. Taylor stood frozen in the doorway of room 847, listening to Lily sing a song that should have been impossible for her to know. The melody that filled the small hospital room was one that Taylor had poured her heart into during one of the darkest periods of her teenage years, a song she had written when she felt completely alone and misunderstood by the world. "How do you know that song?" Taylor whispered, her voice barely audible over the steady beeping of the medical equipment surrounding Lily's bed. Lily stopped singing and looked at Taylor with eyes that seemed far too wise for an 8-year-old child facing death. "You taught it to me," she said simply, "in my dreams." Dr. Sinclair stepped forward, his medical training taking over, despite the surreal nature of the situation. "Lily, sweetheart, can you tell us when you learned this song?" "I've always known it," Lily replied matter-of-factly, "ever since I got sick. Every time the medicine makes me really sleepy and I have to go to the dream place, Taylor is there. She sings to me and tells me stories and helps me not be scared." Taylor felt her legs give out, and she sank into the chair beside Lily's bed. "Lily, I've never met you before today. I've never been in your dreams." "Yes, you have," Lily said, with the absolute certainty that only children possess. "You always wear the same blue coat, just like the one you're wearing now. And you always tell me that when people have to go to heaven, they get to choose one special song to take with them. I chose yours." Dr. Sinclair stepped out into the hallway and motioned for Taylor to follow him. Once they were away from Lily's hearing, he spoke in hushed, urgent tone. "Miss Swift, there's something about Lily that I haven't told you yet. Something that might explain what just happened in there." "What do you mean?" "Lily has developed what we call acquired savant syndrome. It's an extremely rare condition that sometimes occurs in children undergoing intensive chemotherapy. The treatment can cause certain brain changes that result in extraordinary ability. Taylor stared at it. What kind of ability? Enhanced memory? Pattern recognition? Sometimes even what appears to be precognitive ability. Things that medical science can't fully explain. Are you saying she can predict the future? I'm saying that Lily has demonstrated knowledge of things she shouldn't be able to know. She correctly predicted the exact time that 3 other patients in this ward would pass away. She drew detailed pictures of nurses and doctors weeks before they were hired to work here. And yesterday, Dr. Sinclair paused, clearly struggling with what he was about to say. Yesterday what? Yesterday she told me that a famous singer with blonde hair would visit her today, wearing a blue coat, and that the singer would cry when she heard Lily sing a special song that no one else knew. Taylor looked down at her blue coat, the same coat she had grabbed randomly from her closet that morning, without any particular thought. "This is impossible," she said. "There has to be a logical explanation." Before Dr. Sinclair could respond, Magnolia Chen William, the hospital's music therapist, came rushing toward them, her face pale with distress. "Dr. Sinclair, we have a major problem. I need to speak with you and Miss Swift immediately." "What's wrong, Magnolia?" "I've been reviewing Lily's medical record, the ones that Madison Bell didn't take with her when she left, and I found something that changes everything we thought we knew about this situation." She pulled out a file and opened it to reveal legal documents and photographs. Madison Bell Rodriguez is not Lily's biological mother. The words hit Taylor like a physical blow. "What?" Lily's real mother was Rebecca Thompson. She died in a car accident 3 years ago. Madison Bell was Rebecca's neighbor who volunteered to help care for Lily during her mother's final illness. When Rebecca died, Madison Bell somehow obtained fraudulent documents claiming to be Lily's legal guardian. Dr. Sinclair took the file and studied the documents. "How is this possible? How did she get past our background checks?" "She had help," Magnolia continued. "Professional help. Someone created a complete false identity for her, including forged birth certificates, social security records, even fake medical histories. She's been collecting survivor benefits and insurance money meant for Lily's care." Taylor felt sick to her stomach. "So, Madison Bell has been using Lily for money this entire time?" "It gets worse," Magnolia said. "I also found this." She handed Taylor a police report dated 3 years earlier. As Taylor read it, her hands began to shake. "The car accident that killed Rebecca Thompson," Taylor read aloud. "Suspected vehicular homicide. Primary suspect, Madison Bell Rodriguez. Case closed due to insufficient evidence." Dr. Sinclair grabbed the report. "Are you saying that Madison Bell killed Lily's real mother?" "The police suspected it, but they couldn't prove it." Rebecca had recently updated her will to leave everything to Lily, with provisions that Madison Bell would receive a substantial sum for serving as Lily's caregiver. But if Rebecca had lived longer, she was planning to change caregivers because she had become suspicious of Madison Bell's motive. Taylor looked back toward Lily's room, where the little girl was now singing softly to herself again. "Does Lily know any of this?" "That's the most heartbreaking part," Magnolia said. "I think she's always known. Children who develop savant syndrome often have enhanced intuitive ability. She may have understood the truth about Madison Bell from the beginning, too young and too sick to know what to do about it. That's why she's been having dreams about you," Dr. Sinclair said to Taylor. "She's been looking for someone she could trust, someone who would listen to and believe her. But how could she know about my song? How could she know I would come here today?" "I don't know," Dr. Sinclair admitted. "But I think Lily has been trying to reach out to someone who could help her for a very long time, and somehow she reached you." Taylor walked back toward Lily's room, her mind reeling from everything she had learned. When she entered, Lily looked up at her with those impossibly wise eyes. "You found out about Madison Bell, didn't you?" Lily asked quietly. "How did you know that we found out?" "Because you look different now. You look like someone who understands." Lily patted the bed beside her. "Will you sit with me? I have something important to tell you." Taylor sat down carefully, and Lily reached under her pillow to pull out a small manila envelope. "What's that, sweetheart?" "It's proof," Lily said simply. "Proof that Madison Bell hurt my real mommy. I've been hiding it for 3 years, waiting for someone I could trust to give it." With trembling hands, Taylor took the envelope. Inside were photographs, documents, and what appeared to be a handwritten confession. "Lily, where did you get these?" "Madison Bell thought I was asleep in the car the night she hurt my mommy, but I wasn't asleep. I saw everything, and I took pictures with my mommy's phone before Madison Bell found it. Taylor stared at the evidence in her hand, realizing that this 8-year-old girl had been carrying the weight of witnessing her mother's murder for 3 years, all while battling cancer and living with her mother's killer. Lily, why didn't you give this to someone before now? Because Madison Bell said if I ever told anyone what I saw, she would hurt me too. And I was too little and too sick to know who would believe me. Lily took Taylor's hand. But I knew that someday someone would come who would listen. I dreamed about you because I needed you to come and help me tell the truth before I have to go to heaven. Taylor realized that she wasn't just looking at evidence of a crime. She was looking at a dying child's desperate attempt to find justice for her murdered mother before it was too late. Taylor stared at the evidence in her hand, her mind struggling to process the magnitude of what Lily had just revealed. The photographs showed Madison Bell tampering with Rebecca Thompson's car, and the handwritten confession detailed a premeditated plan to cause an accident that would look like driver error. Lily, we need to get this to the police immediately. Taylor's, her voice urgent. I know, Lily replied calmly. But there's something else you need to know first. Madison Bell is coming back. What do you mean? She only left to hide the medical record, prove I'm getting sicker faster than she told everyone. She's coming back because she needs to be here when I die so she can collect the insurance. Dr. Sinclair, who had been listening from the doorway, stepped into the room. Lily, how do you know Madison Bell is coming back? Because I can see things sometimes, like how I knew Taylor would come today. Madison Bell will be back in about an hour, and she's bringing lawyers with her. Taylor's phone buzzed with a text from Remington Hayes. Security, a woman matching Madison Bell's description, just entered hospital with 3 men in suits. They're heading to the elevator. They're already here, Taylor said, showing Lily the text. Lily nodded, as if this was exactly what she had expected. Taylor, I need you to do something very important for me. I need you to call the police and give them the evidence. But I also need you to record me telling the truth about what happened to my mommy. Lily, are you sure you're strong enough for that? I've been strong enough for 3. I can be strong for a little longer. Dr. Sinclair checked his watch. If Madison Bell is on her way up here, we don't have much time. Miss Swift, if you're going to contact the authorities, you need to do it now. Taylor immediately called 911. Explaining the situation to the dispatcher, while Dr. Sinclair contacted hospital security. Within minutes, they could hear commotion in the hallway as police officers arrived on the floor. Lily, Taylor said gently, the police are you ready to tell them what you told me? Yes, but Taylor, I want you to stay with me. I'm scared of Madison Bell, but I'm not scared when you're here. Detective James Morris, a veteran investigator with the Philadelphia Police Department, entered the room along with a social worker and a child advocate attorney. He had been briefed on the situation by the 911 dispatcher, but the complexity of the case was still difficult to comprehend. Hello, Lily, Detective Morrison said kindly. I understand you have some very important information to share with us. Lily looked at Taylor, who nodded encouragingly, then began to speak in a clear, steady voice that belied her 8 years. 3 years ago, Madison Bell killed my real mommy, Rebecca Thompson. I saw her do it, and I have pictures and papers that prove it. Detective Morrison carefully took the evidence from Taylor's hands, while the social worker set up a video camera to record Lily's statement. Lily, can you tell us exactly what you saw that night? For the next 30 minutes, Lily recounted the events of the night her mother died with a clarity and attention to detail that was remarkable for any witness, let alone a child who had been only 5 years old at the time. Described how Madison Bell had convinced Rebecca to let her drive them to the grocery store, how she had done something to the car while Rebecca was putting Lily in her car seat, and how the accident had been no accident at all. Madison Bell thought I was asleep in the back seat, Lily continued, but I saw everything. And after the ambulance took my mommy away, I found her phone in the car, and I took pictures of the things Madison Bell had done to make the car crash. Detective Morrison examined the photographs on Rebecca's phone, which clearly showed evidence of brake line tampering and steering mechanism sabotage. Lily, this is incredibly brave of you to tell us this. Why didn't you speak up before now? Because Madison Bell said she would hurt me if I ever told anyone, and I was little and sick, and I didn't know who would believe me. But Taylor, just then, they could hear shouting in the hallway. Madison Bell had arrived with her legal team and was demanding access to Lily's room. That's her, Lily whispered, instinctively moving closer to Taylor. That's Madison Bell. Detective Morrison immediately radioed for backup, while hospital security worked to prevent Madison Bell and her lawyers from entering the room. Through the door, they could hear her voice, loud and threatening. "You cannot prevent me from seeing my daughter. I have legal guardianship. This is kidnapping. Ma'am, you need to calm down," came the voice of Officer Patricia Williams, who had responded to provide additional security. "We have some questions we need to ask you." "Questions about what? I haven't done anything wrong." Detective Morrison looked at Lily. "Are you sure you're ready for us to arrest Madison Bell? Once we do this, there's no going back." "I've been ready for 3 years," Lily said firmly. "My mommy deserves justice." "Lily," Taylor said softly, "you are the bravest person I have ever met." Detective Morrison opened the door and stepped into the hallway. "Madison Bell Rodriguez, you are under arrest for the murder of Rebecca Thompson and fraud in the first degree." The scream that followed echoed throughout the entire pediatric ward. Madison Bell's voice, no longer controlled and manipulative, became shrill and desperate. "You can't arrest me! That little brat is lying! She's dying anyway! Who's going to believe her?" "Ma'am, you have the right to remain silent." Officer Williams continued with the arrest. "This is all her fault," Madison Bell screamed, pointing toward Lily's room. "She should have died years ago, just like her mother should have." The confession came spilling out in her rage, confirming everything that Lily had told them. Detective Morrison's audio recorder captured every incriminating word. Back in the room, Lily had listened to Madison Bell's breakdown with a mixture of relief and sadness. "Is it over?" she asked Taylor. "Yes, sweetheart. Madison Bell can never hurt you again." Dr. Sinclair, who had been monitoring Lily's condition throughout the ordeal, checked her vitals and frowned. "Lily, how are you feeling?" "Tired," she admitted, "but good tired, like I can finally rest now." Scarlett Rose Washington entered the room with tears in her eyes. "Lily, there's someone here who wants to meet you. Your real aunt, Sarah Thompson. She's been looking for you for 3 years." A woman in her 40s with the same kind eyes as Lily entered the room. She had been Rebecca's sister, and when Rebecca died, Madison Bell had convinced the authorities that no other family members existed. "Lily," Sarah said through her tears, "I want you to know that your mommy loved you more than anything in the world. She would be so proud of how brave you've been." "I know," Lily said with a smile that seemed to illuminate the entire room. "I can feel her here with us. She's been waiting for me, but she couldn't come get me until Madison Bell couldn't hurt us anymore." Thornton Blackwood, the hospital director, appeared in the doorway with several other staff members. Word had spread throughout the hospital about the extraordinary events of the day, and many of the doctors and nurses who had cared for Lily over the months wanted to say goodbye. "Lily," Dr. Sinclair said gently, "is there anything else you need? Anything at all?" "Just one thing," Lily said, looking at Taylor. "I want to make sure that other kids like me will be safe. Kids who don't have anyone to protect them from people like Madison Bell." Taylor wiped her eyes and leaned closer to Lily's bed. "What do you want me to do?" "I want you to help make a rule that says hospitals have to make sure that the people taking care of sick kids are really their family, so that what happened to me never happens to anyone else." Dr. Sinclair stepped forward. "Lily, that's actually a wonderful idea. We could create a protocol, a set of mandatory verification procedures for all pediatric patients. Could we call it the Lily Grace Protocol?" Sarah asked. "I would be honored to help establish that," Thornton Blackwood said from the doorway. "Lily, your courage today is going to protect children for years to come." Lily's breathing was becoming more labored, but her expression remained serene. "Taylor, will you stay with me until I see my mommy?" "I'm not going anywhere," Taylor promised. "And will you sing to me? Not our song this time. Something happy. Something about going home." Taylor began to sing softly, a gentle melody about peace and love, and the joy of being reunited with those we've lost. As her voice filled the room, Lily closed her eyes and smiled. "I can see her," Lily whispered. "I can see my mommy. She's so beautiful, and she's not sad anymore." Sarah squeezed her niece's hand. "Tell her I love her, Lily. Tell her I took good care of you." "She already knows," Lily said, her voice barely audible now. "She says, 'Thank you for finding me.' And Taylor, Yes, sweetheart? She says thank you for hearing me call for you in the dreams. She says that's how angels work sometimes. They help people find each other when they need each other most. Taylor felt something shift in the room, a sense of peace and completion that seemed to surround them all. Lily's breathing grew slower and more shallow, but she never stopped smiling. "I'm not scared," she said with her final breath. "Mommy's here." The silence that followed was profound, but not empty. It was filled with love, with justice finally served, and with the knowledge that Lily Grace Thompson had accomplished something extraordinary in her short life. Dr. Sinclair officially recorded the time of death as 8:47 p.m. on July 7, 2025. But everyone in the room knew that Lily hadn't really died. She had simply gone home. 2 weeks later, Taylor Swift released Dreams of Justice as a single, with all proceeds going to establish the Lily Grace Foundation for Child Protection Service. The song, featuring Lily's voice in harmony with Taylor, broke every streaming record in music history. The music video opened with a photo of Rebecca Thompson and closed with the words, "Justice for Rebecca, peace for Lily, protection for all children." Madison Bell Rodriguez was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The evidence that Lily had preserved for 3 years was the key to securing the conviction. The Lily Grace Protocol was implemented at children's hospitals across the country, requiring mandatory identity verification and background checks for all caregivers of pediatric patients. Dr. Maverick Sinclair established a new research initiative studying acquired savant syndrome in pediatric cancer patients, hoping to better understand the extraordinary ability that some children develop during treatment. And Sarah Thompson adopted 3 other children whose parents had died, creating the loving family that Lily had always dreamed would exist for kids who needed protection. In her final Instagram post about Lily, Taylor wrote, "Some people come into our lives to teach us about love. Others come to teach us about courage. Lily Grace Thompson taught me that sometimes the smallest voices carry the most important message, and that listening with our hearts can change everything. She reminded me that we all have angels watching over us, and sometimes those angels come disguised as 8-year-old girls with more strength than any adult should ever need to possess." The hashtag Justice for Lily trended for months, raising awareness about child abuse and the importance of protecting vulnerable children from those who would exploit them. And in a small cemetery in Philadelphia, 2 headstones now sit side by side. One reads, "Rebecca Thompson, beloved mother," and the other reads, "Lily Grace Thompson, brave daughter, angel on earth." Between them, someone leaves fresh flowers every week, along with a small note that always says the same thing: "Thank you for teaching us to listen to our dream." Chapter 5. Word count: 1,064 word. Total word count: 6,341 words. "I'm your Aunt Sarah. I've been searching for you ever since your mommy died." Madison Bell told everyone that your mother had no family, but that wasn't true. "I've been fighting in court to find you." Lily smiled, the first genuinely peaceful expression Taylor had seen on her face all day. "I remember you. Mommy used to show me pictures." "I'm here now," Sarah said, taking Lily's hand, "and I'm never going to let anyone hurt you again." Taylor watched the reunion with tears streaming down her face, amazed by the strength of this little girl who had endured so much and fought so hard for justice. "Taylor," Lily said, turning to her, "thank you for believing me. Thank you for helping me tell the truth. Thank you for trusting me," Taylor replied. "You saved yourself, Lily. All I did was listen." But even as they celebrated this victory for justice, Dr. Sinclair's expression remained grave. He pulled Taylor aside once more. "Miss Swift, I need you to understand something. What Lily has accomplished today is remarkable, but her condition is still critical. The stress of everything that's happened has taken a toll on her body. We're looking at hours, not days." Taylor looked back at Lily, who was now surrounded by her real family and the people who truly cared about her. Despite everything, or perhaps because of it, she seemed more at peace than a dying child should be able to achieve. 2 hours later, as the sun set over Philadelphia, room 847 had been transformed into something that felt more like a sanctuary than a hospital room. The police had finished taking statements, Madison Bell had been formally charged, and taken into custody, and Lily was finally surrounded by people who genuinely loved her. Sarah Thompson sat beside her niece's bed, holding her hand and telling her stories about Rebecca that Lily had never heard before. Dr. Sinclair monitored her condition while Scarlett Rose made sure she was as comfortable as possible. And Taylor Swift, the global superstar who had walked into this hospital under false pretense, remained by Lily's side as the little girl had requested. The room had filled with an unexpected sense of peace despite the gravity of the situation. Thornton Blackwood, the hospital director, had personally ensured that no media personnel could access this floor, and Remington Hayes had coordinated with hospital security to create a protective barrier around the entire wing. "Taylor," Lily said softly, her voice growing weaker but somehow more peaceful, "will you sing our song with me one more time?" "Of course, sweetheart." But as Taylor began to sing the melody that Lily had somehow known from her dream, Lily stopped her with a gentle gesture. "Wait, I want to add something to it, something new." "What do you want to add?" "A part about my mommy, and about how sometimes angels have to wait a long time for justice, but it always comes in the end, and about how there are good people in the world who will help you if you just believe hard enough." With her small, weak voice, Lily began to improvise new lyrics to Taylor's private song, creating verses that spoke of love transcending death, of courage in the face of impossible odds, and of the power of truth to overcome even the darkest secrets. Her words were simple but profound, carrying the wisdom of someone who had experienced far more than any child should have to endure. Paisley Mae Johnson had arrived earlier with Taylor's personal recording equipment, understanding instinctively that something important was happening that needed to be preserved. She had set up the equipment discreetly in the corner of the room, ready to capture whatever moment Lily wanted to share. "Lily," Taylor said gently, "would you mind if we recorded our song? Not for the public, but so your Aunt Sarah can always have it to remember you by." "I would like that," Lily said, her eyes brightening with the idea. "But Taylor, I want you to promise me something. Anything. Someday, when you're ready, I want you to share our song with other kids who are scared and alone. I want them to know that even when bad things happen, good people will come to help if you just keep believing and never give up hope." Taylor had to pause to compose her before she could respond. This 8-year-old girl, facing her final hour, was thinking about how to help other children who might find themselves in similar situations. "I promise, Lily, but what should we call our song?" Lily thought for a moment, her 8-year-old wisdom shining through her exhaustion. "Dreams of Justice, because that's what this has been. My dream that justice would finally come for my mommy, and that someone would believe me and help me tell the truth." They recorded the song together, Lily's small voice harmonizing with Taylor's, as they created something beautiful from years of pain and loss. Despite her weakening condition, Lily's voice remained clear and strong throughout the recording, as if she was drawing strength from some deeper source. When they finished, Lily looked more peaceful than anyone in the room had thought possible for a child in her condition. "Thank you," she whispered to Taylor, "for listening to me in your dreams, even when you didn't know you were doing it, for being brave enough to come here today, even when you didn't understand why." Dr. Sinclair checked his watch and then looked at the monitors surrounding Lily's bed. Her vital signs were weakening rapidly, but she seemed to be fighting to stay conscious for as long as possible, as if she had more important things to accomplish before she could rest. Word had spread throughout the hospital about the extraordinary events of the day. Many of the doctors and nurses who had cared for Lily over the months had quietly gathered in the hallway outside her room, wanting to be present for her final moment and to pay their respects to a child who had shown more courage than most adults ever would. "Lily," Sarah said through her tears, "I want you to know that your mommy loved you more than anything in the world. She would be so proud of how brave you've been, how you never gave up on finding the truth." "I know," Lily said, with a smile that seemed to illuminate the entire room. "I can feel her here with us. She's been waiting for me, but she couldn't come get me until Madison Bell couldn't hurt us anymore. She needed to know I would be safe." Dr. Sinclair stepped forward with something in his hand. "Lily, before you go, I want to tell you about something we're going to do because of you." "What do you mean?" "We're going to create new rules for all children's hospital. Rules that will make sure that what happened to you never happens to another child. We're going to call it the Lily Grace Protocol." Lily's eyes widened with genuine joy. "Really? That will help other kids. It will help protect children all across the country. Every hospital will have to verify the identity of caregivers and check their background. Your courage today is going to keep other children safe for years to come. That makes me so happy, Lily said, and for a moment she seemed less like a dying child and more like the little girl she should have been allowed to be. Magnolia Chen Williams, the music therapist, approached the bed with tears in her eyes. Lily, you've taught all of us something important about the power of music and dreams, about how sometimes the most important messages come to us in ways we don't expect. Music is like prayers, Lily said thoughtfully. It goes places that words can't go by themselves. Taylor felt her heart breaking and healing at the same time. This child had endured unimaginable trauma and loss, yet she was spending her final hours thinking about how to help others and sharing wisdom that would stay with everyone in the room for the rest of their lives. Lily, Taylor said softly, is there anything else you need? Anything at all that would make you feel better? Just one more thing, Lily said, looking around the room at all the faces of the people who had come to care about her. I want everyone to know that I'm not sad anymore. I was sad for a long time because I missed my mommy and because I was scared of Madison Bell. But now, I know that my mommy is waiting for me, and Madison Bell can't hurt anyone ever again. She turned specifically to Taylor. And I want you to know that meeting you wasn't an accident. I really did dream about you, and I really did call for you in those dreams. Sometimes when people need each other, the universe finds a way to bring them together. Lily's breathing was becoming more labored, but her expression remained serene. The machines around her bed showed that her body was shutting down, but her spirit seemed stronger than ever. Taylor, will you stay with me until I see my mommy? I'm not going anywhere, Taylor promised, taking Lily's small hand. And will you sing to me? Something happy? Something about going home? Taylor began to sing softly, a gentle melody about peace and love. Her voice filled the room with warmth and comfort. Lily closed her eyes and smiled the most peaceful smile anyone had ever seen. I can see her, Lily whispered, filled with wonder. I can see my mommy. She's so beautiful and not sad anymore. She's smiling and reaching for me. Scarlet Rose squeezed her niece's hand. Tell her I love her, Lily, that I took good care of you, and I'm sorry it took so long to find you. She already knows, Lily said, her voice barely audible but joyful. She says thank you for never giving up, and thank you for bringing Taylor to help me tell the truth. She turned slightly toward Taylor. Taylor, my mommy wants you to know something. She says sometimes angels work through dreams to help people find each other when they need each other most. She says you were her angel today. I'm ready now, she said with her final breath. Mommy's here, and we're going home together. The silence that followed was profound, but not empty. It was filled with love, justice finally served, and the knowledge that Lily had accomplished something extraordinary. Dr. Sinclair officially recorded the time of death as 8:47 p.m. on July 7, 2025. But everyone understood that Lily hadn't really died. She had simply completed her mission and gone home to the mother who had been waiting for her.